Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to the K-Dot Kente Show, man. Welcome to the K-Dot Kente Show. I have a special show right now going on. I had to ask my brother to come back to get another interview from my brother, man, because with the recent passing of the great Dr. Mutulu Shakur, I definitely wanted to speak with my comrade and my brother, Haki Kweli Shakur. He been on my show several times. I know a lot of y'all seen it. I'm talking about we done did a lot of interviews on political prisoners, Dr. Mutulu Shakur, and a lot of things. And I just wanted to bring my brother back, and I definitely want to send my condolences to Dr. Mutulu Shakur and the Shakur family. How you doing, my brother?
Free the land. I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good.
Yes, I definitely appreciate you again, man, with your time, man, and everything. And I definitely wanted to, interview you again because of the recent passing of Dr. Mutulu Shakur. I know, how that affected a lot of the Black community. I know it affected you a lot too, my brother. And I just want to say, by me having shows with you, bro, and you coming on being a guest, I just want to speak my piece on Dr. Mutulu Shakur of the things that I learned from him. I learned how, he was doing acupuncture for getting, a lot of the brothers and sisters that was on drugs, trying to get them off drugs. I noticed, Dr. Mutulu Shakur had a great spirit about him, man. He was a teacher. He was a leader, I felt like I really met him through you. I haven't physically, when he was here, I didn't physically meet him. But as far as from what you used to tell me about, he seen some of the shows that me and you did on political prisoners and him, and I feel so honored that he got a chance to even see that what we put together, bro. So go ahead, speak your piece right now, man. I just want you just to let the people know a lot about Dr. Mutulu Shakur that they didn't know about. Go ahead, my bro.
Yeah. Free the land, man. Like I said, man, it's an honor and a pleasure to be back on your platform. I truly appreciate it. And yes,
All the time, bro.
I send my deep condolences out to the Shakur family, the forefathers and the foremothers of the Shakur tribe and things of that nature. So I send my deepest condolences to the family. Unexpected, but kind of expected.
Yeah.
You feel me, on his transition and things of that nature, being that, he was finally released like 7 months ago. So, we was hoping that, he could live a little bit longer. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, the cancer, he succumbed to the cancer and things of that nature. But
Yeah.
the most important thing of it all, we just happy that he got to spend those last 7 months being loved on by his core family, friends,
Yes.
comrades, and things of that nature, So we happy he got that in. At least he
Yes.
got to spend those final days with his close family. Something that he always wanted upon being released was to get back to being around his core family and things of that nature and getting that love that he always seek when he was behind the walls. Even though he still got the love behind the walls, 100%
Yeah.
supporters. So and shout out to the supporters all across the world. Also, because a lot of people don't know, Dr. Mutulu Shakur has supporters across the world, not just inside the empire of the United States of America. The campaign went worldwide to get
Yes.
this great man, out of the penitentiary. So shout out to
And bro,
them too.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I gotta say this when you was talking about the campaign. You was one of them brothers. You was one of them brothers at the forefront for the campaign of Dr. Mutulu Shakur, and I know that for a fact, bro. Like I have to salute you right now too, because you was one of them brothers, them diligent brothers, man, that was just going hard all the time. I'm talking about you went hard all the time, bro, like trying to free political prisoners, getting political prisoners out. So, I have to give you your props too, bro, on always being real and being true to what you always speak and talk about. Go ahead, continue, my bro.
I appreciate that, and that just comes from, like when I first came into the movement of Black liberation struggle and the new African independence movement and things of that nature. And I wouldn't, be, who I am today if it wasn't for that. And I'm gonna just take it to the beginning. I wouldn't be who I am when it comes to political prisoners if it wasn't for the 1998 Jericho movement. And the Jericho movement was started by a political prisoner, a prisoner of war of the Black Liberation Army, Black Panther Party, the Honorable Baba Jalil Muta King, and the ancestor Safir Bukhari. Who was captured here in Virginia in the 70s. And they started a movement in 1998 called the Jericho movement, which was the biggest movement for political prisoners when they took the march on Washington, D.C. This is how I came into the movement, just observing what those OGs was doing in the 1990s and the 80s, but the 1990s, the late 90s, when they marched on D.C. for the political
Yeah.
prisoners, prisoners of war. And, when I met Dr. Mutulu Shakur, as far as, through, that program of the Jericho movement, when I started, advocating for political prisoners and writing political prisoners in the early 2000s.
Because you have several letters too. I didn't mean to cut you off one more time, but I got to say this because I remember you bringing different letters of you and Mutulu writing each other back. You know what I'm saying, to the show, to my show. You know what I'm saying? You had letters from Mutulu Shakur, my show. You know what I'm saying? I used to be like, well, damn, that was real big. You know what I'm saying? As far as like you had gained a relationship with Mutulu through that, though. Speak on that, man. The relationship y'all gained, bro.
Yeah. Like I was saying, we started corresponding around the 2000s. That's when I came in contact with him because, like I said, through the Jericho movement, they was inspiring young brothers like myself who was coming into our political consciousness, who was coming into the movement. The people that was going to, receive the torch from these elders who were starting to get old. So I took it upon my personal self to start, there, like writing political prisoners, because these elders emphasize write these brothers and sisters. They need mental support, verbal support and communication from the brothers and sisters, the younger generation outside the wall. So I took it upon myself to write Dr. Mutulu Shakur in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. At the same time, I was building a relationship with my other mentor, other comrade brother, Haki Shakur, and everything just seemed to fall in place by divine intervention. You feel me? And it's like we knew each other forever. You know what I'm saying? And by building a relationship with Mutulu, I seen what he was doing over the years with the younger brothers and sisters behind the wall and outside the wall, specifically with the street tribes and the street organizations, Crips and Bloods, gang life, gang organizations. So I started to build a relationship with him as well, because I was showing him things that I was trying to do to bridge the brothers and sisters, to stop the violence. It really was a stop the violence thing at first. You know what I'm saying? When, Mutulu, Tupac, Mo Preem and them started the Thug Code, which is a revolutionary document. These things influenced me. It pushed me to get into this type of work. And me and Mutulu, we just started communicating back and forth, building a relationship. And I became, like many of the young brothers and sisters, he became a mentor to me. You know what I'm saying? And showing me and guiding me, the way and what I should do, this and that, with the history and all that. And specifically just tutoring us, individuals who wanted to become a part of the new African independence movement, which is an independence movement, a revolutionary movement that was seeking nationhood and things of that nature. So that's how our relationship began. And he took me under his wing.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, even then when we watched the All Eyes on Me movie, when that movie had came out, I want to say what it was, 2016 or I don't something like that. Okay, so I remember when that movie came out, they had an actor playing Mutulu Shakur, man. I remember that. And I thought that was kind of big in that Tupac movie too, to put a highlight on who Dr. Mutulu Shakur was, because a lot of people didn't know. So I just wanted to speak about that. When I seen the movie, I was like, that was real good that they did that, put Dr. Mutulu Shakur in there.
That was real big. And shout out to the actor, that played Marlo.
In The Wire.
He was the individual that took that role, because him himself saw that role as being important, because before that, people didn't really know about Dr. Mutulu Shakur. So for them to even incorporate that aspect of Tupac's story, on why he became who he was as a brother trying to find himself in the revolutionary struggle, the Black liberation movement, I thought that was important to include his father, Dr. Mutulu Shakur, in that movie, to put a spotlight also on his struggle of trying to release Dr. Mutulu Shakur, which is a big movement. The freedom of Dr. Mutulu Shakur, people finally got to, see like, who is this great man that actually had this influence on a Tupac Shakur and many others, not even just Tupac, just many other brothers and sisters that was incarcerated at that point in time who Dr. Mutulu Shakur was working with. That film put a light on that.
And one thing you used to always say, I remember as far as with Dr. Mutulu Shakur, he'll let Tupac know when he was wrong on a lot of things. Even like, I guess, like you said, when Pac came in, I guess, and seen him, you know, so I guess on a visit, you know, Pac was saying thug life and all that. And Mutulu was saying, so what you really mean by that? Yeah. You know, so Mutulu was trying to really, you know, trying to get him to really break it down and saying what you mean by thug life. Speak on that, bro. Break that down for the people, because you can break that down. Won't you break that down?
Oh yeah. The whole thug life thing was a beautiful revolutionary enigma to me. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point in time, you got to understand it was many individuals like a Tupac Shakur who was influenced by street culture, street code, street ethics, principles, and just influenced by the street culture, period. And one of those individuals, like I said, is Big Bro, is Haki Shakur, aka Monster Cody. An individual like him, Tookie Williams or Raymond Washington, all these people who was actually living thug life, and many other individuals across the nation, New York City, different ghettos, you know what I'm saying? Just being influenced by the ghetto and the culture of street life, period, is what, you know, morphed thug life. But Tupac seen it as an outlet and a tool, a revolutionary tool to try to take this deeper than what it is. And what that is like politicizing street tribes, street organizations, and street culture. But when Tupac started thug life, it needed to be more than what he was trying to you know, make it be.
That's what Mutulu was trying to get out of him, right? If I ain't mistaken.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, like, this is why he went to Mutulu and went to Mutulu with the concept of thug life. So, because this is what elders do. You know what I'm saying? Elders like to critique, constructive criticize these type of things that you're trying to do, but at the same time, make Mutulu Shakur see that we can't be exactly like y'all because we're living in a different time period.
Yeah.
The time period of a Dr. Mutulu Shakur. You know what I'm saying? This is in the early 90s. You see what I'm saying? So the science and the whole structure of what was going on when it pertains to our oppression had morphed into something different than what they were fighting against. So Tupac wanted to bring something into existence for our time period. But he needed that guidance from Dr. Mutulu Shakur and the elders to critique thug life, which means, you know, the acronym means the hate you gave little inference, fuck everybody. You know what I'm saying? Which makes total sense. You know what I'm saying? Because we're coming out in the crack era.
Yeah.
You understand? Coming out in the crack era, the violence was more inhumane. The poverty was more inhumane, and all these type of things. And the street culture was becoming that father of young men. You know what I'm saying? Because the men was being taken out of the household. These revolutionaries were captured. They were in prison. Mutulu and all was in prison. So Tupac was looking at it through the angle and the eyes of every young black male in this country and every young black sister in this country was running towards the street life looking for a father figure. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But things had morphed out of control. The chaos, the drugs, the violence, the gangbanging had morphed so far off course that Mutulu, the thug code, to try to, you know, put a halt and try to take control of this violence and things of that nature. So he wrote the revolutionary document, Thug Code, which was a set of laws to try to bring back order to the street culture and stop the death, stop these drive-bys, stop all this in it. Because at this point in time, you know, babies was being killed, kids was being killed by drive-bys and straight, and you know, straight bullets that wasn't meant for them. Families being destroyed because babies and kids were being, you know, victims of this parasitic violence of black people. So that's what the Thug Code was. The Thug Code was a revolutionary document to bring structure back to the street culture, street life, to try to politicize these brothers and sisters.
Yeah, man. I just, you know, this when I seen the news, as far as of hearing and seeing that Dr. Mutulu Shakur passed, it really touched me because I was like, wow, man. I was like, this elder, you know, he had ain't too long came home, and I remember I had called you. We had talked about that, and you know, we always said it too. Like, far as the reason why y'all go ahead letting him come home because y'all knew it. Y'all knew he was real sick. He had cancer, basically.
Right.
So you know, but I'm still, thankful that he did get to come home and touch back out here the little time he did have,
Yes.
But
yes, that's a blessing, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's what we're trying to do now is we've been doing, but we're trying to put more focus on. People got to understand why it's important to support political prisoners because these individuals are being targeted. Now, what you just stated, I'm gonna make a prime example of that, is that people got to understand this was intentional. This is what we call political murder. And many people don't know what political murder is. Political murder is what we call sanctioned murder by the state, by the government, on individuals they know, and they know for a fact these individuals are individuals who are political figures, revolutionaries, freedom fighters, and things of that nature. They do these type of things to make sure they kill these individuals. Mm-hmm. So we got to look at Dr. Mutulu Shakur's death as not just a regular death. It was political murder. They killed this man. And the reason why I say that, we have to understand Dr. Mutulu Shakur had a release date, an official release date of February 2016. Because I want people to get this point. Yeah. So they can understand why his death was murder. It wasn't just death, it's murder. And many other Black Panthers and New African citizens and freedom fighters who died the same way, in prison and outside the walls. What I mean by that is this individual should have been released in 2016. They gave this man 60 years. He had to do at least
how many years he got? He had
they gave him 60 years for 60 conspiracy. Years. For conspiracy in the RICO Act.
Yeah.
They gave him 60 years.
Because a lot of people in the audience probably don't know why he was in jail that long or whatever, in prison that long or whatever. Let the people know.
Let me, before I get to the political murder aspect, let's go back into Dr. Mutulu Shakur's history and why we venerate this great man.
Yeah.
Dr. Mutulu Shakur is an individual we call a healer. He was a revolutionary healer. And I'm gonna take it even deeper. It's an ancestral duty of being a healer. Now, in the Igbo culture, you know what I'm saying, that I'm gonna use the example, the Igbo culture, Dr. Mutulu Shakur, and many other African cultures and tribes also, because we got to make this thing ancestral. It's an ancestral birthright of our ancestors, of African ancestors. Dr. Mutulu Shakur would be what we consider in Africa as a dibia, as an individual who's a healer. Some people call it like witch doctor and things of that nature, these different titles, you know what I'm saying, that's been passed down through history. But he would be known in Igbo cultures, what we know as a dibia, a healer, somebody who heals the community, somebody who does work in the medical field in the tribe or the community. And Dr. Mutulu Shakur revolutionized in America, because we got to make this clear. This is in America, the empire, you know what I'm saying? The country that was founded on the enslavement of human beings, Black bodies, African people.
Yes.
This individual revolutionized the medical field for New African Black people and Chicano Black people as well. Mm-hmm. And what Dr. Mutulu Shakur was a part of was a revolutionary movement, and I'm going to take it to the beginning. 1970, a group of individuals called the Young Lords Party. These were Puerto Ricans, a Puerto Rican street gang at first, and they morphed into a revolutionary organization because they became politicized and transformed themselves into that. The Young Lords Party, the Black Panther Party, and Quadres of the Republic of New Africa and the Black Liberation Army in New York at the time. And across the country, period. People have to understand the healthcare system was against Black people at that point in time. Black people wasn't getting good health care. Brown people wasn't getting good health care at that point in time. But New York City was the epidemic. It was the center and the basis of poor health care for New African Black people in this country. And at that point in time, because that's one part of the aspect. Also, this was the period of the late 1960s going into the 70s. The heroin epidemic was going on at that point in time. Yeah. So the Black and brown community was being ravaged by heroin, cocaine, but the main drug at the time was heroin. You know what I'm saying? Opioids and things of that nature. had ravaged the New York City. New York City was the biggest city and state at that point in time of addiction for black and brown people. Man, it was horrible. Ghettos was horrible. So many people were strung out on heroin. It was horrible at that point in time. And at that point in time, a hospital in New York City called the Lincoln Hospital. Oh. And the Lincoln Hospital at that point in time was treating black and brown people horribly, inhumane when it came to healthcare. So these young individuals, the Young Lord Party, the Black Panther Party, the Republic of New Africa said, to hell with this. We're gonna do something about this. And let me remind y'all, these were teenagers. These wasn't no grown men. No men and women. These were teenagers. Okay. You know what I'm saying? In their 16, 17, 18, 19, early 20s. You know what I'm saying? At that point in time, they said, to hell with this. We're gonna fix this problem. So they ran up in the Lincoln the Lincoln Hospital at that point in time and took over the hospital and planted the Puerto Rican flag and the RBG flag on top of the hospital saying, we're taking over.
What?
Yeah, and they took over the hospital. And then they took over the drug program, the medical program at that point in time. And this was in 1970. November 1970, they took over the hospital. And at that point in time, they had individuals like the great Richard Taft, who was a great revolutionary doctor at that point in time. And they had hired Dr. Mutulu Shakur to be an assistant in that program, the medical program, the detox program at that point in time. And at that point in time, Mutulu Shakur had been going back and forth with individuals to Canada, to China, and he came across this this is what they called it at that time. He came across this Eastern medicine practice of China by the Chinese, acupuncture. You know what I'm saying?
Explain that to the people, the acupuncture thing.
Yeah, like revolutionary. This is what they call, white people, because you gotta remember at this point in time, white people is racist as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So anything outside what white people were doing at that point in time, they seen as inferior. It was inferior to them. It was like indigenous culture, period. Like indigenous culture was seen as inferior to white medicine, to European medicine, and what they was practicing. So anything people was doing as far as indigenous spirituality, ancient African spirituality, Hinduism, Chinese practices, all this stuff was seen as inferior medicine. Right. So Mutulu, when he was over, racist as hell. So when Mutulu was over there in China, he had learned this from this other revolutionary sister of the movement, who was an associate of Malcolm X at the time, Yuri Yokoyama, this great revolutionary sister, Asian sister, told him about acupuncture. So Mutulu and them went to China to get the real basis of what the hell is acupuncture. So when Mutulu got there, he learned that acupuncture was a way of spiritual and physical, mental healing through the usage of needles. What was these needles used for? The science behind acupuncture is this: throughout our body, our whole body, called acupuncture or acute pressure points in the body. What are these acute?
You gotta speak up a little bit, Shakur, so we can hear you a little bit. So speak up a little bit so we can hear you a little bit. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can. It seems low a little bit. That's all right. Go ahead. Can you hear me now? I can hear you. Yeah.
Is it high now?
Yeah, high now. It's high now. Yeah.
What I was saying was that these pressure points in the body is pressure points in your body that you can tap into that can spiritually heal the body from within. And it's like I think it's like over 700 to 900.
And see this what the white man know when he want to ban shit like this.
Bingo.
Like that. Bingo. We know the white man. We ladies and gentlemen, we know the white man would want to ban that type of shit. Anything spiritual is so-called bad and want to be banned. Go ahead, my bro.
No, I'm glad you made that point, because that's the point I was saying when it came.
See, that's another, and this my thing, and I got to say this. I feel like they threw an extra some more years on far as even with the acupuncture with Dr. Mutulu Shakur.
Oh, I'm gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that part. But I'm glad you brought that main part up because that's the main part I want people to focus on why they attacked this man and incarcerated this man. Like I said at first, Europeans and Western medicine seen those type of medicine practices as inferior. They didn't want you to know about that. They didn't want you to learn about that. And like I said, I think it's like 700 to 900 acupressure points in your body that can heal you from within. So when Mutulu learned that science, you know what I'm saying, and that the needles, when you put those needles in those acupressure parts of your body, and and the main acupuncture system is in the ear. Like from what the Chinese taught them is that if you do these acupuncture pressure points in the ear, this ear being the main part of your body, that it can tap into every main organ in your body. This is what Mutulu figured out. So putting these needles in these acu parts of your body, you can start to heal from your trauma, your mental health issues, your physical health issues, your physical ailments, and things of that nature. So Mutulu soaked all this in, he learned it. He got certified as an acupuncturist and all these type of things in the 70s. So when he got back to New York City, him and the rest of these revolutionary people was like, okay, now we got the medicine that we know can get these black folks off of these pills, off of this medication that the Western, the heroin and all these type of things that was going on in the community. So when he came back to the New York into the Lincoln Hospital, they turned the Lincoln Hospital into what we know today as the Lincoln Detox Center. And the most important part about this, he got the medicine down pat, which is the acupuncture. Mutulu and them came up was like, okay, we can't just heal them and send them back into the community. No, they got to be healed mentally. And what was one of the ways that they was going to heal these individuals mentally was political education. This is what made the Lincoln Detox Center a revolutionary hospital, because they wasn't just going to heal you and send you back out into this empire of the United States of America, because they know you could easily be influenced to relapse back into drugs. So no, Mutulu and them wanted you to heal physically and mentally at the same time. So they incorporated a political education program along with the acupuncture program, so the drug addicts will understand, okay, now I know why I'm on drugs. It's the oppression of the society. It's the American government who's oppressing us, impoverishing us, that is making me want to do drugs to try to cope with my oppression. You see what I'm saying? So this is where the conflict come in, and this is why they started attacking Mutulu.
Yeah.
Around that time and point, when Mutulu and them was starting to use the acupuncture, in New York City, you had the Rockefeller, Nelson Rockefeller, who was, at that point in time, he was the governor of New York City. Robert Nixon was the president at that time, and we know how crooked his ass was. And at the same time, it was a big pharma.
Damn.
I see a lot of conspiracy theories online talking about big pharma, the pharmaceutical industry, which is the biggest industry in America outside of the prison industry. Is the big pharma company, the company that produced all these medications and pills that they put you on, and telling you that you so-called healing and curing yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like high blood pressure and all these type of things, these pills and medications.
So let me say this too, Shakur. Is the Chinese, they still doing acupuncture over there in China and all that?
Yes. That's the core. So you got to understand. Well, me and you know this. Individuals, black people, brown people got to understand this. Your culture and your spirituality is the basis of you being a self-determined, independent people. If you don't have no culture and no spirituality, you have no identity as a people. The Chinese understands this. Chinese know that spirituality and culture is the basis of who we are as an identity and a nationality and a national people. So you know the Chinese, and even the indigenous Africans, the indigenous Native Americans, the Indians, and all these type of people, the core of their who they are identity as their identity is their spirituality. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So they would never get rid of acupuncture because acupuncture is spiritual healing.
I mean,
Physical healing.
we need to be up on that a little bit more, though, man. I feel like, shoot, that's the antidote right there.
Yeah, that's what we call liberation medicine. It's the liberation of people, and you got to understand, this medicine ain't just for physical cures. It's for mental health, you know what I'm saying? Which is the most important health. Your mental health. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things of that nature. So now the Chinese still has this. This is a main aspect of their culture, and this is why Mutulu and them took this in. So, at that point in time in the 70s, you got to understand. New York City tried to find their own way of curing drug addicts, and by doing that, they started to incorporate in their drug programs this medicine called methadone. And if people don't know what that is, methadone ain't nothing but heroin. It's nothing but another version of heroin. It's an opioid. So now let me ask you this, my brother. How does an individual on another opioid cures heroin addiction?
Yeah.
How is that possible? So you basically, this is what they was trying to do in the 70s. They're basically taking you off another addictive drug and putting you on another addictive drug and sending you back into society saying you're cured.
Yep.
So Mutulu and them seeing the contradiction in that. And at this point in time, it was a big pharma company called Eli Lilly. And if people don't know who Eli Lilly is, write that down. Eli Lilly was the biggest pharmaceutical company in America at that point in time. Damn. And they was the ones who was facilitating the methadone to hospitals in these drug programs at that point in time. Guess where Eli Lilly got methadone from?
Well,
Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis are the first people on this planet to synthesize methadone, meaning they was the ones who produced methadone in their laboratories. The scientists, these was Nazi scientists. I'll remind you, individuals who hated black people, individuals who hated Jews and things of that nature. America and the Eli Lilly company got their methadone that they so-called going to cure drug addicts with from the Nazis, bro. Now let me tell you how crazy
that's deep right there, yeah.
Down the white supremacy rabbit hole.
Yeah.
These cats talking about your methadone that we got from Nazis who hate black people, who hate poor people, who hate Jews, and we're going to use the Nazis' medicine to try to kill drug addicts. So when Mutulu and them caught winning it, because you got to remember, all these things is being exposed by Mutulu. The Black Panthers, the Young Lords, the Republic of New Africa, they're exposing these things, but Mutulu specifically is exposing these things. The connection between Nixon, the connection between Rockefeller, Eli Lilly, Big Pharma, that we still battling today. You know what I'm saying? Is trying to do this to our people. So Mutulu and them was to hell with that. We're going to use acupuncture. So when COINTELPRO and the government of New York City got whiff of what Mutulu and these great revolutionaries was doing, man, they were healing damn near 1,000 drug addicts a year. They was curing 1,000 drug addicts a year, bro. In the 70s, off of heroin. They was taking off.
But I don't understand why having no other some of our people pick the acupuncture joint up. I mean, maybe there are some people out there doing it. I don't know. I don't want to say we're
gonna get to that part. We're gonna get to that part. No, it's many individuals doing that work, bro.
Yeah,
it's a lot. I'm talking about from the youth all the way up until comrades of Dr. Mutulu.
Yeah, because that's the cure right there.
Yeah, but you know, I'm just trying to put it in context on why they attacked this man.
Yeah,
put this man in prison. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. So by 1978, the United States of America, the government, and the government of New York City was like, oh, hell no, we got to do something about this individual. Because y'all got to realize this. The reason why Mutulu Shakur was seen as such a revolutionary threat to this country, y'all got to realize the whole reason for Big Pharma is to make money off sick people. That's why cancer exists. This is why AIDS exists. This is why shit COVID-19 exists today. They gotta this is part of population control. Y'all gotta understand how deep this shit is. This is a part of population control and depopulation agenda.
Yeah.
To control the population and to kill the population. And how do you kill the population? You kill the population by making them sick. You know what I'm saying? You make them sick, then you put them on drugs, medications to keep them sick.
Yep.
It's not gonna kill you.
Keep them addictive. Yep.
It's addictive. Exactly. Medication is addictive. Period. You see what I'm saying? So this is the whole agenda of America, the empire, is to keep citizens sick. At the same time, make money off of them. Capitalism. Keep them sick and capitalize off the sickness. So an individual like Dr. Mutulu Shakur, who's bringing indigenous spiritual medicine practices into America, what you think that do? That takes away from their agenda. It takes away from them making money off the sick. Because now you got individuals who can cure people naturally off of herbs, natural cures, natural practices, holistic medicine, what they call today, what Dr. Sabi and all them was doing, holistic medicine. Mutulu is the individual who started that in America. Yeah. Him and a sister by the name of Dr. Shadidi Kinsey. I gotta shout her out because she is like the first black new African woman who was licensed to practice acupuncture. Yeah. So you got all these great individuals. Nobody know about these people like that, except for the people who learned about them. The government seen him as a threat to their money, their agenda, control, and their extermination and genocide on black and brown communities. If they continue to let Mutulu and all these great indigenous doctors continue to cure people without their help, that's a threat to Big Pharma. You know what I'm saying? And their money and their agenda. So in 1978, the FBI, COINTELPRO, New York City raided the Lincoln Hospital, raided the Lincoln Detox Center, arrested the Young Lords, arrested the Black Panthers, arrested New African Revolutionaries, kicked them out of the hospital, and destroyed the detox program. Ended the whole detox program. Now that shows you how sick and evilistic this government is, that they went into a hospital, kicked these individuals out, destroyed the program, all because they wanted to keep black people, brown people, and poor people on drugs to control them and kill them. So when Mutulu and them, when that happened, right? Mutulu quit? Hell no. Mutulu's a freedom fighter. He'll never quit on his people. He'll never give up on his people. 1979. This great man went to the center of heroin addiction, Harlem, New York City. 1979. We talking about the late 70s going into the 80s. People are strung out on heroin in Harlem. The black people are strung out on heroin in Harlem. This man went to Harlem and opened up his own detox center called Banner, the Black Acupuncture Association of North America, in the center of the heart of a heroin addiction in Harlem, New York City. Black owned. First to do it, bro.
That was back then,
In the 70s, the late 70s, this man opened up his own medical center, bro, in the middle of Harlem. This is why we want people to learn about Mutulu and honor this great man who did this.
Yeah.
And being attacked at the same time, as what we call by COINTELPRO with low intensity warfare, high intensity warfare, attacking people from the shadows, you know what I'm saying? Killing, assassinating individuals. This man showed no fear and said, to hell with that. Went straight into Harlem, opened up another acupuncture center, continued to heal drug addicts, continued to free drug addicts, politicize these individuals, and send them back into society. So around that point in time, I'm going to try to hurry up and speed up and get to the point. After 4 years, I think it's like 4 years of Banner being established and doing the work in the community at that point in time, it was a thing that these revolutionaries was doing at this point in time. We got to speak on this because this is part of their story.
Fact.
We living in a capitalist society, right? We living in a capitalist society. I hate to say this. You got to find a way to make money.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You got to find a way to fund your programs.
Yep.
You got to find a way to fund your clinic. You got to find a way to fund. You got to make money to be able to help your people. If you ain't got no money in America, you basically can't help your people to a certain degree. You can help them, but you can't help them like you want to help them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything costs around here.
Everything. What Lupe Fiasco say? Freedom ain't free around my way.
Hell no.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything high.
You know what I'm saying? That's America. Capitalism. Yep. So these revolutionaries, they wasn't rich. They wasn't rappers. They wasn't making millions of dollars. You see what I'm saying? So they had to find a way to fund this revolutionary acts, the revolutionary programs. So around this time, they were doing what we call appropriation. They was doing appropriations around the country. And what I'm talking about, appropriations is what these so-called criminals of the United States of America call bank robberies. Allegedly. Let me throw the allegedly in there because a lot of people, you know, because we don't know who's going to be watching this. So allegedly, the Black Panther, well, at this time, they had turned it to the Black Liberation Army. This is where the Black Liberation Army history come from. The Black Liberation Army of the Republic of New Africa and the New African nation, they were pulling off what we call appropriations. America calls bank robberies, allegedly. So they were going into banks, taking money, funding their programs and things of that nature. So around this time, the FBI were surveilling these cadres, these organizations, the Black Liberation Army, trying to catch them in the act of committing appropriations. Appropriations to African people is this, y'all. America owes Black people.
Yeah.
You feel me? So, because I want people to understand why they were committing these acts. These wasn't criminal acts. When we say appropriations, we're not talking about no criminals who are just robbing shit and who don't have no political consciousness and they just doing criminal shit. You see what I'm saying? No, I'm trying to give y'all structure on why they was doing this. So, to us and African people, we know America owes us reparations. It was money. You know what I'm saying? For enslavement, genocide, lynchings, and the shit that continues today, police terrorism, police brutality, in poverty, period. So what they got in those banks, right? What they got in those banks, we feel like it's owed to our people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So when the Black Liberation Army was going into these banks, they were deeming this as we're taking our reparations. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. To put this in a political, they were taking back our reparations. So that's what appropriations is. We don't call it robberies. We call it appropriations. Damn. So the Black Liberation Army was doing that, bro. They was allegedly taking millions of dollars out of these corporations, banks, and funding revolutionary programs. So it was one specific appropriation that took place in New York City. It's the most notorious what they call robberies in New York history. Yeah. It's called the Brinks robbery of New York City that took place, where they appropriated like $1.4 million out of the bank. During this so-called bank robbery or heist appropriation, the police pulled up on the scene. A shootout took place between the Black Liberation Army. And let me throw this in there because people like to leave them out. It wasn't just the Black Liberation Army. It was also the Weather Underground and all these individual white revolutionaries, European revolutionaries. You know what I'm saying? The cats that showed no fear. They was putting it down. You know about the Weather Underground and all them. Yeah. Them white revolutionaries who was blowing up shit. They was putting it in, blowing up shit and all that type of shit.
Blowing up Senate and all that, yeah.
All that shit. So they were a part of this act, this bank appropriation. So when the police pulled up, shootout take place, 2 police officers get shot down. And let me remind you, and the police officers died. Oh well, that's what you get when it comes to warfare. You know what I'm saying? Casualties. You know what I'm saying? So they tried, well, they did. No, they tried, because I don't want to put it in that context. So when these individuals got away, because many of these individuals got away from the shootout, when they was looking for these individuals, the FBI came in, so they was trying to find out who was the mastermind of this robbery, because this is like the biggest robbery in their history at that point in time in New York City. So they was trying to find the head, the ringmaster, and the mastermind, or who put this together. So Mutulu name started floating. Snitches, agent provocateurs, you know what I'm saying, who had infiltrated these organizations at that point in time, started to put this rumor out there that, oh, the mastermind of this robbery was Mutulu Shakur. You ain't know that? You know what I'm saying? This is what they telling the police and the feds and all of them, running their mouth, snitching.
But like I said, other Black Panthers, right?
Yes.
Same thing. No, could you clarify? Same thing with Judge Joe Brown was talking about when I had interviewed him. He was saying that it was the reason because there was a lot of snitches, agents in the Black Panther Party. Go ahead.
That's just, hey, bro. That's just facts. That's history and facts. The Black Panther Party, the Nation of Islam, all these movements at that point in time, the Republic of New Africa, Young Lords Party, and even like I said, the white revolutionaries, the Wealth Underground, their organizations were infiltrated by feds. They had agents running with them, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's just facts. And that's a part of history that we must learn and understand, so we won't repeat that shit ever again. You see what I'm saying? So that's what happened to Mutulu. Mutulu fell victim to COINTELPRO, feds, snitches, who were going around saying that he was the ringleader, the mastermind. And let me remind you, Mutulu wasn't a part of this robbery. He wasn't on the scene. He wasn't there. None of that. You see what I'm saying? So how all of a sudden y'all put this big robbery of United States of America and New York City on this one man? We know why you did it. We know why you did it. God did it because you wanted to get this man off the streets, because he was going against Big Pharma, New York City, and he was curing drug addicts. Period.
Yep.
This man had the most revolutionary detox program in the history of America. This is why they went after this man. This is why they framed him with the Brinks robbery, bro. And that same individual got on the stand. Mutulu ain't know this man at all. So they got in the RICO Act. This is the thing y'all gotta know about the RICO Act. This is why the RICO Act is so criminal by the FBI.
So they're telling people Mutulu got hit with the RICO, right?
You got hit with one of the first cats
that ever
to get hit with the RICO. Y'all got to understand this history. This is like one of the first individuals to ever get hit with RICO and conspiracy. Period. The same shit they was using against the mob. This is how they took the mob down. They took the mob down with the RICO, which is basically saying that we're taking down organized crime rings, organized crime. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they tried to, and this is the sick thing about America. They tried to put our struggle, Black people struggle, brown people struggle. They tried to put that with organized criminals. Now we know what the mob was doing. What the mob was doing was crime. Not about it. That's pure criminality. That shit they was doing was crime.
Yeah.
But for the audacity of them to put revolutionary shit with mafia shit, to me was humiliating.
Yeah.
It was disrespectful at that point in time, because what they was doing, these was two sets of sides of society doing two different things. One was doing negative, one was doing positive. So that's what Mutulu fell victim to. And this individual got on the stand and testified against Mutulu, and this is how he got the 60 years, put in prison, gave him 60 years. But people got to realize, when he got locked up and they gave him that 60 years, this was under old law. This is under the old law, you know what I'm saying? And by him being under the old law, he was eligible for parole as many times as possible. This is the old law, you know what I'm saying? So he was captured in Los Angeles in 1986, incarcerated, went into the penitentiary, continued to work. He didn't go in the penitentiary and just stop and gave up or quit or anything like that. No, he went into the penitentiary, started up educational programs, stopped the violence programs. This man, look, Mutulu went to prison, bro. So many conflicts and so many goddamn acts of violence against different individuals, organizations, gangs, and things like that. Bro, that shit stopped. This shit stopped when he came. This is how much respect people had for this man when
Yeah.
he came to prison. That he was killing the violence and the conflict in penitentiaries that he went to across America. You know what I'm saying? At that point in time. But the key part I want people to focus on, he was eligible for parole as many times as possible. They denied this man like 9 to 10 times, bro.
Yeah.
They denied this man like 9 to 10 times. And coming, like we was talking about earlier in this conversation, February 2000, because I want people to understand why this political murder. February 2016 was his official release date, meaning they could not hold him no longer after that date. If you held him any longer after that date, it's deemed illegal. And it's illegal in the first place. Why? Mutulu was established as being a political prisoner. Even the judge on his case, I'm talking about one of the most racist judges in history. This white racist judge even admitted at his trial, bro, that Mutulu, political prisoner, indeed a victim of the counterintelligence program. This is what the white racist judge said. He admitted it. He's like, yes, Mutulu Shakur was a victim and targeted by COINTELPRO.
So he's a white person said that?
Political prisoner. A white racist judge.
Oh.
The white racist judge on this. This is the same judge that kept him from being released from the penitentiary 10 times. Him and the parole board. Him and the racist parole board. They stopped this man from being released like 10 times before they finally released him. But at the same time, this racist judge acknowledged that he was a political prisoner and that he was indeed attacked by the COINTELPRO and the FBI.
Dang.
I mean, like, straight contradictory, bro. Straight contradiction. So this is why I'm saying it's political murder. Because when he came finally to his last parole hearing, before he transitioned to the ancestors, this is what I want people to understand. I'm going to continue to talk about as long as I got the voice to talk about it. If Mutulu was released on parole in February 2016, because at this point in time, he didn't have cancer. 2016, he didn't have cancer. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So imagine this parole board doing what they were supposed to do and release him in 2016. I'm not saying he might not have caught cancer later, but what I'm saying is he had a fighting chance to get out while he didn't have cancer. If y'all would have just released him in 2016, he would have got out healthy.
Facts.
He would have been healthy getting out in 2016. This racist judge said no. Releasing him in 2016, they kept him illegally, kept him in the prison. This man developed cancer. And I ain't gonna get into why. I'm not gonna get into what I heard from some of the comrades behind the wall on how he got cancer, which is something else that's going to come up later. People are going to talk about later. It's going to come out. Sooner or later, y'all gonna hear, but it's gonna come out.
No, I want to know now, man. You know, I want to. People want to know what it is now, for real, bro. I know you can't say it, no, but people.
Where me and you will talk about it in private.
Okay,
yeah. Because I ain't gonna put it out there yet.
Okay,
I'm gonna let the comrades do that.
Because we want this show this to be about the legacy of like how you breaking it down, man. The acupuncture thing that Dr. Mutulu Shakur was doing, getting the brothers and sisters off drugs. That was big. I feel like that need to be highlighted a little bit more of what people need to talk about with the legacy of Dr. Mutulu Shakur. That's big, man. You know,
and I'm glad like I said, that's why I'm glad you did this conversation, this interview, because this is what we're gonna do going forward.
Yeah.
And going forward, we're going to put the spotlight on this man because we want to emphasize. This is what some of the comrades and family and friends have been talking about over the last couple of days, is that we want to put the emphasis on the doctor.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand. This man is a real
doctor. Yeah.
Not no fake pseudo title. He just threw doctor on his name because it sounds good. No, this man was a real doctor. He was healing people for real. And he got a bunch of comrades, youth, individuals who are continuing to work right now. They even brought back his organization. His organization is back now, Banner, the Black Acupuncture Association of North America, is back. One of his closest comrades in DC brought it back. So now you can go. Now you can go to the website. The website is up and everything. It's
what is you got it? The information for the people.
Yeah, the website is AAANA.com.
What is it?
AAANA.com.
I can't get you to send that one out.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the link. Well, I'm gonna send you the link. But yeah, his original organization has been brought back in so we can teach, so they can teach younger generations about acupuncture. So we can continue
and even this is what I'm saying with like you said, the Chinese and all that. They doing that over there. They not doing pills and all this goofy shit that we got over here in America. I mean, I'm saying and acupuncture is natural.
Yes.
Literally natural. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And this is why I'm glad you said that. This is why, if you notice, a lot of Chinese and Asian people, they live longer.
Yeah.
Some of these.
Yup. I'm good. That's a great point.
Most of these Chinese living to like 100 something, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they living to like 100 years old, while our people here in America only living to like 70, barely making it to 70 now. Barely making it to 70.
65, you know that.
65, you know what I'm saying? We barely making it across the 70-year mark.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So this is why Mutulu's work is so important. Like we got to get back into holistic healing. We got to get back into African traditional healing. We got to get back into Eastern medicine, what they call quote unquote Eastern medicine, indigenous spirituality. The most key opponent is the indigenous spirituality. Many people don't even realize, even though Mutulu was a Muslim, he was a Muslim, but this is the thing people got to understand. Just because you're religious don't mean that you leave back behind your culture and your spiritual practice. You know what I'm saying? And your spiritual traditions, like herbs, you know what I'm saying? Meditation, healing, acupuncture, meditation, yoga, all these. Just because you're a Muslim, just because you're a Muslim and a Christian,
don't mean you can't do that. I totally agree. Because once again, and I hate to get off topic, but I gotta speak on this. When you just said the a lot of the Christians, and I really don't like to single a lot of my Christian brothers and sisters because I don't be wanting them to think I'm banging on them because I love my Christian brothers and sisters. But what I have to say is, though, sometimes with a lot of y'all are always acclaim shit like meditation or whatever. Y'all acclaim that shit's evil. Like y'all acclaim voodoo, that's evil. That's bad. Everything's bad. When everything is really affected, it's nature.
It's nature.
That's all I'm saying. Everything is, you know what I'm saying, is nature. That the white man so-called stole from the ancestors, you know what I'm saying? They in the study that they use the shit and they give us the shit that they made. That's all I'm saying. They gave us the Bible, all this shit. I don't want to go there because I ain't in the debating. I ain't in the debating mood with nobody that want to jump in and all that about that type of shit.
But no, it's good.
2023 should be thinking ahead of that. What, bro?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, bro, you got to put that type of information out there because
at
the end of the day, so many black people in America has been colonized by the Western Empire and the Western powers. To see indigenous medicine and indigenous spirituality and practices is something that's inferior. When in fact it's not inferior, it's actually superior to Western medicine because Western medicine is a contradiction to the liberation of people, the healing of people, and things like that. People got to understand. This is why history is so important. Why you have to research and study history because you got to understand how was people healing themselves before medicine.
That's another one. How was the ancestors healing? Like even when we say, a matter of fact, I said this on my show a long time ago. I think my first season or second season when I interviewed you, when we were talking about this voodoo thing, and we were saying how the ancestors used to heal the slave master. You know what I'm saying? The slave master used to come to the ancestors for healing. And shit. Wonder like how did slaves know how to heal and how they know how to do that?
why did they go to these African medicine men, medicine women, big papa, big mama on these plantations? Why did they go to them? They didn't have pills.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And what Big Mama and Big Papa was doing on these plantations at that point in time, they had the herbs, they had the traditions, the spirituality, the voodoo. And voodoo is spiritual medicine, it's liberation medicine.
That's it.
Because right now, voodoo can cure mental illness. I mean, mental health issues. Many people don't even realize that voodoo is being used in Africa and other places across the planet as medicine that heals people's mental health. Voodoo cures mental health. You know what I'm saying? So that shows you how criminal. That the Western Empire is and the Western United States government is that they will try to make indigenous medicine evil and paint it as evil, but they going in the shadows behind your back using this stuff, getting cured by this stuff, but they selling you stuff that's going to keep you addicted and keep your health in poor conditions, which is pills and all these type of things that they keep selling you from Big Pharma.
And that's the thing that Dr. Mutulu Shakur knew. You know, that's what he knew. And see, this is the thing, like I said, this is how like Tupac mind was because of Dr. Mutulu Shakur. That's how his mind was, as far as politicized and how we was hearing some of his raps and some of his lyrics he was saying because of Dr. Mutulu Shakur. I just always want to put the emphasis on that, man.
A lot of people
don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this last aspect in there. People don't realize that he's a Panther Cub. You see what I'm saying? And he's the former chairman of the New African Panthers. 1988-89, Tupac Shakur was the national chairman of the New African Panthers party, you know what I'm saying, that comes out of the New African Independence movement. People don't realize a lot of these Panther Cubs, like Tupac and them, they sat at the feet of Mutulu and them. They was at the meetings. They was at the meetings and all that, bro. So you think these kids not gonna soak up that energy? Because remember, all this shit is still spiritual. Being politicized can be spiritual too. You see what I'm saying? So as these young babies, these young kids of freedom fighters, they were at the feet of these freedom fighters at the height of all this stuff in the 60s and the 70s. So he's Mutulu is like the biggest influence on Tupac Shakur's life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even though Tupac ain't reached his full potential, a lot of that potential manifests and morphed out of Dr. Mutulu Shakur and all the other elders, Sekou Odinga, Sandiata Okola, Asada Shakur, Afeni, Bilal, Sonny Ali. I gotta throw Bilal and them in there. The Sonny Ali clan, all these great revolutionary freedom fighters. Sister Fulani Ali. Rest in peace to her too, man. Like all the Shakurs who don't carry the Shakur last night, because a lot of people don't realize it's a lot of Shakurs who don't carry the Shakur name, but they got different names like the Ali family and all these individuals. They're Shakurs because all these individuals came under the great freedom fighter father, Alba Saladin Shakur, and we gotta shout him out, the great Pan-African freedom fighter Saladin Shakur, who was the first Shakur in this country. Him and Miriama Shakur, his wife, the first Shakurs, Lumumba Shakur, Zaire Shakur. You know what I'm saying? All these individuals who sacrificed themselves for New African Black people to be where we are today. You know what I'm saying? Even myself, I give thanks to Dr. Mutulu Shakur, Sanyika Shakur. They the ones reason why I have the name that I have, Haki Kweli Shakur. They gave me this name. They blessed me with this name because they seen something within myself that I didn't see within myself at first. And I'm going to always be thankful to my mentors for that.
Man, like I can say, man, that's big right there because I can remember, man, you bringing the letters to the show. You bringing the letters from Dr. Mutulu Shakur, Sanyika Shakur. You bringing letters that y'all wrote each other back and forth. And I think that was just so real. You know what I'm saying? How you develop that, you know, how they looked at, they seen something in you as a youth, though. You know what I'm saying? So I have to salute you too, my brother, for you just carrying that legacy on, man, like this, putting always thinking about political prisoners, man. Always having a heart.
Most important.
You know what I'm saying? Like you are one of the biggest advocates that I know that always talk about them and say freedom and do things for them. So I just want to salute you right now too, bro. No.
No, I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you brought that point up because this is what we do it for. Listen, let me clear this last point up as well. Man, let me tell y'all something, man. If y'all talking about you so-called activists, so-called revolutionary, you're supposed to be a so-called organizer. Look here. If your agenda of your organization and your agenda as an activist, a revolutionary, whatever title you want to give yourself, listen, whatever you doing as far as our struggle here in America, and everybody got their own little agendas and all this when it comes to the well-being of black folk, new African people in America. But look here, if political prisoners, the ones who fought for y'all, the ones who was captured by this government, the ones who sacrificed decades, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of their lives for us to be where we at, to give us a voice, to fight, period, for freedom, for black folk. Look here. If these people are not at the center and the basis of your programs, and their freedom is not at the center and the basis of y'all programs and what you doing this shit for, man, you might as well get out of this struggle because you're doing an injustice to the individuals who laid the path. How do you not honor and fight and struggle for the people who laid the path for y'all to have a voice as so-called scholars, these so-called social media activists and all these crazy things? But you cats don't mention political prisoners at all. You don't put political prisoners.
I ain't gonna even lie, bro. You right, because I don't hear motherfuckers saying that. I hear you saying it. You really the only person I really hit now. It's some other people out here I know that say about political, but I feel like you have a movement going on, as far as with a free political prisoners movement. So
yeah, because that's what it's about, man.
Yeah.
Because that's how I came into this struggle. I don't know no other way about the struggle. My introduction to the struggle was political prisoners. Like I told you, with the Jericho movement in DC, 1998, Safir Bukhari, Jalil Mutakane. I don't know no other way. Like, this is how I got introduced to what I am now and made me who I am now, was political prisoners. So I would never, ever abandon them. I would never, man, people don't even realize the only reason I got on social media was because of political prisoners. I didn't get on social media for nothing else, even though I'm a new African historian. I do my historian work and all that type of stuff. But I got on social media specifically for political prisoners because they needed a voice. You see what I'm saying? From our generation. Now, salute all the elders who was doing this work since the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, who came before me, who been doing political prisoner work. Salute to them. I'm talking about people from my age group. You know what I'm saying? Our generation and behind us. I stepped into those shoes because it was a void, especially here in Richmond, Virginia. It was a void. Wasn't nobody talking about political prisoners here. You know what I'm saying? In Richmond, Virginia. You see what I'm saying? Until I came on the scene in the 2000s. You see what I'm saying? And that's my duty. That's my reparations to our elders.
Man, that's big, man. I just want to, thank you right now, man, Haki, bro, for this. Keep on carrying the torch and the legacy of Dr. Mutulu Shakur. And I just want to salute to Dr. Mutulu Shakur family out there. I just want to send my condolences and everything. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, and let me just go ahead and plug that in there. Soon, the new edition of the Rebuild, a New African Independence article. Soon, I don't know when it's going to come in, but I'm just going to plug it anyway because I want people to be prepared for it when it come out. There will be a dedication series and paper of the New African Rebuild periodically coming out to pay commemoration of Dr. Mutulu Shakur. He's going to have his own edition.
Yes, sir.
That's coming out very soon. My bad. Somebody was trying to call in. Yeah, somebody was trying to call in. But it's coming out very soon. I don't know when it's going to come in. I guess they're probably working on it right now. But be on the lookout. But this one of the recent New African Independence Rebuild periodicals.
Got you.
That's showing salutations to the Welcome Home Mutulu.
Yes, and sir. The Mutulu hold that up a little bit more. Yeah.
The Mutulu is Welcome Here movement. And shout out to all the individuals of the Mutulu Shakur family and friends that I was invited to be a part of. I give thanks to the lawyers of Mutulu, all the individuals that I work with, and we all work together to bring this man home. Shout out to the Shakur squads. Shout out to the Malcolm X grassroots movement, who was spearheading the Free Mutulu campaign. Shout out to the New African People's Organization and all the elders of the New African People's Organization. And shout out to the New African Independence Movement, man, period. And the Republic of New Africa, man. You know what I'm saying? Long live Mutulu, man.
Long live Mutulu.
Man, long live his work.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother, again, man. I appreciate you, man, for your time, bro.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. And, man, let's just keep fighting a good fight, man. Free the land.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.